Mr. Grenville, what do you propose we do about the ever-enormous 7-Year War debt?
Well, I think we should hit those colonists with some heavy taxes, much like the ones we already experienced right here in England.
But, sir, we are already imposing the navigation laws. Don't you suspect the colonists will grow angry with more imposed taxes?
Who cares about those dang colonists? The only reason we give them support, thank you, is for the natural resources. For all I care, we can impose some heavier, more dangerous taxes upon them later on down the road.
But what kind of taxes?
Although the navigation laws had been in place since the colonies were formed, they had not been heavily enforced until after the French and Indian War. Along with the newly introduced Proclamation of 1763, which stated westward land won from the war could not be settled upon by colonists. These laws angered the colonists, which forced them to reconsider their loyalty to the Crown. Parliament also forced colonists to house or quarter British soldiers left in the colonies after the French and Indian War through the Quartering Acts. On top of this, Parliament created the sugar and stamp taxes to ensure that the colonies helped pay off the debt left over from war. Colonists protested by forming groups such as the Stamp Act Congress, which eventually led to the repeal of the Stamp Act.
Why, hello. My name is Jeremy Thatcher. I'd like to buy some sugar.
Are you sure? There has been a heavy tax placed on the sugar.
What? How am I supposed to get sugar for my boy? I am oppressed.
Yes, I know this is ridiculous because people will no longer be able to purchase my sugar because of the heavy tax placed by Parliament. This is an outrage because I'm afraid my customers will lead to some other cheaper sugar shop in town.
You mean like the black? Okay.
I can get you some smuggled sugar if you go down the street past Dan's house. Talk to a guy named John.
Okay. Oh my God. Hey, are you Dan? Okay, can you tell me how to get to John's?
It's just right past the bend right here. But you get on a special map. 2 beats on a 10.
Hey, are you John?
I am John.
You got the sugar?
I do got the sugar.
How much?
$5 in an oil lamp.
Good day to you, sir.
The Townshend Acts were taxes on basically all the everyday goods used by the colonists. After the enforcement of the Intolerable Acts, colonists lashed out at British soldiers, which in turn led to the Boston Massacre. On December 16, 1773, many Boston men disguised themselves as Indians and dumped tea from the East India Tea Company to the British harbor. This was in protest of Parliament attempting to make the East India Tea Company a monopoly in the colonies. The event later became known as the infamous Boston Tea Party.
This tax on imported British tea has got to go. Let's go show these lobster bags what we're made of. Woo! Oh my God! Dumping all the tea! Alright, let's go.
The First Continental Congress met in Philadelphia, 1774, and represented 12 of the 13 colonies. The purpose of the Congress was to address colonial grievances, and a Declaration of Rights was written to be sent to British Parliament. The Second Continental Congress met a year later, and there was decided that Americans would start assembling troops as a Revolutionary War was inevitable.
Thank you all for coming to this meeting. We are here to discuss the wretched taxes put on us by the British Parliament.
We must speak out against the sugar stamp and quartering acts. It is not fair that we do not have a voice in Parliament. We need a voice.
No taxation without representation.
I hereby propose Declaration of Rights and Grievances to speak out against the oppressiveness of England.
Finally! Those dang British soldiers have making a mess of my home ever since the Quartering Act was introduced.
Enter this colonist's house with or without his consent. Open up in here! Under British Parliament, I am allowed to enter this house under the Quartering Act.
We don't want you here. Get out! You mean like the black market?
We must speak out against these wretched acts, the sugar quartering, and other things that I don't know.